UFC Vegas is this weekend for Wages and Warriors with myself, Mario Heron. And we also have some controversy going on already on this card. You had Maycee Barber miss weight, which is kind of surprising to happen earlier today. So she's going to forfeit a portion of her purse. You also had some other stuff going on. A fight had to be moved up to 145. You also had another fighter miss weight and then another fight called off all in this card. So a little controversy to start, but the card goes on, UFC goes on, and it's the card right before a really, really big one, and Merab versus Sean O'Malley Part 2. So yeah, let it get a little nuts, why not? What are you gonna do? But besides the point, I think there's still some action to be made, and I like a lot of underdogs in this fight card. So let's go ahead and get to it. We'll start with Dustin Jacoby versus Bruno Lopez. Dustin Jacoby is a high level, insanely talented striker. He's 29 overall. He's lost 2 of his last 3 fights, but he's coming off a very dominant knockout that he had that kind of shocked the world and got a nice little signing bonus on top of it. He's 5.33 strikes landed per minute, 4.05 strikes absorbed. He is insanely talented. His takedown defense is not the best, but in case you want to stand up and brawl with this guy, you're going to be in trouble. Faces a guy in Bruno Lopez, who is a black belt Muay Thai fighter himself. Now his numbers, and he hasn't really shown he's this insanely talented Muay Thai guy in the UFC. He's actually been knocked down quite a few times in the Contender Series that he did. So there's a little bit of worrisome as how can he stand with Dustin Jacoby? What will that look like? Can he kind of survive Dustin's chaos with the stand-up game? Or can he just go ahead and take it to the ground? Which I advise for Lopez to do overall. He's on a 3-fight win streak. He has a 2.68 takedown average. He's very, very, very good when he wants to get you to the pavement. But on top of that, Dustin Jacoby, he's, has a wrestling background, but his jiu-jitsu's not fantastic. That's something Bruno can kind of really expose on Jacoby's side, and especially when Jacoby has a reach advantage. I think that's something that Lopez is going to have to really lean on pretty quickly, right? Is how can I kind of get this fight to change? How can I get the tempo to change? How can I make this a boring fight? Because you are the guy that needs it to be a little bit more boring. Because the more boring it is, probably the better it is for Bruno. The thing that we talked about earlier was, Bruno getting knocked down. That is my biggest worry when it comes to betting this is can Bruno withstand the damage that he's going to have to take? Because he does, if you look at strikes landed versus strikes absorbed, it is slightly more absorbed than landed. But, like I said, he's not like this Muay Thai guy that's not very talented and doesn't know what he's doing. No, he knows how to kind of stand up and brawl, and he's comfortable in that position. It's just he looks better, if he does change ups. He looks better if he goes for a takedown, if he can switch up from, hey, we're going to make this a brawling match to we're going to make this a kind of a kickboxing match as well. If you want to take Bruno, who's on a hot streak, and this is kind of the way I'm leaning, I'm taking Bruno to win at plus 165. He's also younger than Dustin Jacoby, and I like that a lot. Plus, with Jacoby's recent losses, he's less likely to kind of swing and bang and swing freely. He fights a little bit more conservative. He I don't want to say fighting scared because that's not the right term, but let's just pulls pulls the options of what he would necessarily wouldn't have if he was on a win streak. He doesn't take as many chances, right? And that's why I kind of lean Bruno Lopez in this one. But I wouldn't be surprised if Justin Kobe takes him out. We shall see, but I'll go with a younger fighter in that. Now we have Billy Ray Goff versus Ramez Brahimaj. This is really interesting because Ramez is 11-5, 2.26 strikes landed, takes a lot of damage, 4.04 strikes absorbed. There's something that stands out to me right away in this, and at one, it's Billy's takedown defense, which is 100%, which is pretty absurd, but that just means he hasn't been shot on that much, but still, it's really, really strong. And Billy's strikes landed per minute, which is at 8.56, which is just absolutely astonishing, right? Like this guy, he's going to just tap you up on the feet, and he's going to make sure that you're going to be hurting throughout this whole thing. With him having that big of a strike advantage, plus, he's going to stay up the whole time. He needs kind of a comeback win. I think this fight's going to be pretty quick, right? I think Billy Ray is going to kind of do what he wants, find his rhythm, find his kind of distance and just kind of take care of business a little bit. So I think he wins by KO, and you get that at plus 125. So very quick on that fight. Not a lot there. But Mateusz Game Root versus Lloyd DeViet Klein is the next fight that we have. It's a lightweight bout. Pronunciation, we're getting there, baby. Come on. But Klein versus Game Root. Game Root's been around the block 10 straight fights with a takedown. I mean, this guy is very, 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 very good. Not 5.25 takedown average. If you want to go for it on him, it's 90%. His striking's pretty good. He's 24-3 overall. He is been around the block. He's top 10 in a very competitive lightweight division. He faces Klein, who is pretty hot right now. 4-fight win streak, and is kind of getting his big boy fight, his kind of big test. So let's see, if you're just a prospect, if you're a serious contender in the series, and someone that we really have to watch out for. And if you don't know a lot about Klein, he's 23-4. He has 9 wins by KO, 8 wins by submissions, 10 first-round finishes. This guy's a freaking electric factory. Strikes landed are pretty good. Great takedown defense, but against Game Root, you're going to go down at some point, so might as well just accept it. At some point, you're going there. Just got to survive it, right? Now, where to kind of go in this fight is kind of the big question. Do you want to go with the guy that's more experienced? Do you want to go with the guy that's on a hot streak right now that's trying to make a name for himself? Both kind of make sense in either way. Klein is plus 130. He's a slight underdog, which, I think kind of checks out. If you want to go method of victory, this is kind of what you're looking at. Game Root for knockouts plus 1,300 makes sense. Him by submissions plus 800 makes sense. Decision or technical decision minus 120. Klein, if you want to go by submission, 16-1. If that happened, then man, he had Jesus on his side. And then Klein by knockout, TKO disqualification plus 350. Now, what to kind of do in this fight? I just think it's going to go the distance. I don't think there's going to be a stoppage in this one. I think both guys are looking to make a statement. Gambert's trying to hold his ranking up there with the top guys in the division, while Klein is trying to get his name up there and trying to really climb the charts. So I lean this one going. It's going to be a good brawl. It's going to be a good fight. I think the kind of strategy, if I'm Gamert, is you take it to the ground, you make it boring, and you make this guy second guess everything. If I'm Klein, I'm keeping it up as much as I can and try to make it a striking duel because I don't want to roll with this guy. But other than that, I think Klein in this one, he's going to go the full rounds of the fight, and I think it's going to be a pretty fun one to watch. It's a 3-round fight, so it's not like one of those where Klein's entering a 5-rounder and it's something he's never really seen before. So 3-round fight, it goes all the distance. That's what I like for that. Erin Blanchfield versus Maycee Barber, women's flyweight. This is extremely interesting. Erin, 4th ranked in the world in the flyweight division. Maycee Barber ranked number 5. Erin Blanchfield has faced everyone, right? She just beat Rose. She's beat Jessica. Roach she just faced. She lost to that one. But she's faced the best of the best, and her numbers are insane. And she's a freaking awesome fighter. Maycee Barber, also incredible fighter. 6-fight win streak. Out of the 6, 5 of those 6 were by decision. She is comfortable on going on the ground. I was actually rewatching her last fight the other day, and the thing that fascinated to me was no matter what position she's in, her intensity stays the same, and she finds her way out of it to where she's in a good spot, right? So she's taken to the ground. And you think, oh, this doesn't look good. She's kind of getting dominated there. She finds a way to get it back up to the feet, or she finds a way to sprawl around and kind of take the back, or just get on top and kind of do ground and pound for a little bit. She's never out of it. She finds a way. She always has that piece of the puzzle. And as she describes herself, she is a bully. And if you watch her fight, yep, that is a bully. My first instinct right away was, I know she's coming off injury, but she's fairly young. And again, she's a hotter hand in this. Was to take Maycee Barber plus the money to win the fight. On top of her being injured, she suddenly misses weight. Now, it's not like an insanely bad missed weight. It's not like she missed it by 5 pounds, but I believe it was around 1.5 pounds she missed. Something that gives me a little worry when a fighter misses weight and then they also are coming off an injury. That's just two things to really get over mentally as you enter into the octagon. When I, think through that, I go, okay, why would I want to bet on someone that's has to face two mental battles already before the mental puzzle that she's going to face across from her, and Erin that has literally faced the cream of the crop, that has faced the Jordan, the Magic, the Kobe of this division, and she's still fourth in the world. That's a tough call. And the winner of this also probably will get a title shot or fight Silva. Either way, you're in order for that belt. So there's a lot of pressure on this. Erin's used to the pressure, but is she going to be used to the pressure that's going to be provided on her by Maycee Barber? Because Maycee Barber is going to be in your face. You're going to swing hard on her. You're going to connect, but guess what? She's going to stay there, and she's going to stay ready to go. So it's a hard one, right? Ultimately, and it's not like great odds. Like I think I was finding like a -170 was probably the best odds for it to go the distance because I think it will. Both are too intense. Both are too talented, I think, to go down before that. And both have too much on the line of what they want in their careers. That being said, I still lean Barber. I think Barber's intensity, I think Barber is age and just athleticism is going to be a little too much for Erin. And I could be way off. I could be way wrong. And I've been wrong before. And it's kicked me in the nuts before. But I think Erin wins this fight. I'm not Erin. I think Maycee Barber wins this fight. There's a lot of things to be concerned about. I laid out my concerns. Do I really want to trust someone that is facing all these mental battles? And the answer for me is still yes. So I'm going to take Barber for the upset at plus money at plus 190. If you want the safer option, maybe take it to go the distance, and then you could take that with the fight before to also go the distance and like parlay those things together. I don't hate that by any means, but I think Erin Barber full distance. The other things going on in the UFC world that I just find quite interesting is, like I said, we have Merab versus O'Malley. Apparently O'Malley's on this total different trajectory of training. He's gone sober for this, no more smoking weed, no more drinking, yada, yada, yada. We'll see if it works out. I think that's going to be a tough fight in itself for him. And we can talk about it next week if I think he kind of deserves that. The John Jones, Tom Aspinall thing. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm actually agree a lot with Ariel, where I think John Jones, you've had a great run, a fantastic career. Obviously, you are the GOAT, but either should I get off the pot a little bit. You are currently the heavyweight champion in the world, and you have a guy that's at the peak of his powers in Tom Aspinall, who probably has the most thunder in his hands that we've seen since Francis Ngannou, and he's at the prime of his career. So either fight him and give him an opportunity to create his own legacy and also, John, add to yours, or just retire and be done because you have nothing else to prove. I completely agree with that. He's beaten everyone. Everyone's thrown at you. You've taken him out. Congratulations. You are the GOAT. But don't ruin someone else's legacy or hurt someone else's career because you can't make a decision on what you want to do with yours. That's where I'm at kind of with John Jones. I'd love to see the fight. I still think Tom wins that fight so easily, but I think he does a lot of damage to John. And I think John does know that it would be a really hard fight for him. It would be really, really tough in a lot of different ways. And he's on vacation, probably getting hammered all the time and loving the attention he's getting. When you're at the top and like you've done everything he's done, do you really want to get back into a gym and lift and go through sparring sessions and go through rolling sessions? Like, do you really want to do that? I imagine no. And then do you really want your last fight to be you hitting the ground, lights out? I imagine no. Or do you want your last fight to be against Stipe, who's quote unquote best heavyweight fighter in UFC history, and you took him out? That seems like the better legacy move. And that's why I think John Jones just vacate the belt, let Tom take it, let Tom keep going on this insanely run at the heavyweight division and create his own legacy. That's what should happen. Will it? We shall see. But that's kind of my take on that. We also have Ilia Topuria and Islam. There's like a weird beef saying like, oh, Islam's dodging him because he's moving up in weight. I don't think so at all. I think Islam has beaten everyone in that division. He's just walked through everyone. There was a time for you to move up, and it was. It just happens that Ilya is doing the same thing, where he's beaten the two best, fighters in his division. That was Volkanovski and that was Holloway, and Max Holloway, and he beat both. So he's moving up, but it didn't happen, and now he wants to fight Jack and become a two belt champion. That's fine. Go ahead, go do it. As soon as you do it, maybe you fight Ilya after it. That's fine, but Ilya, you kind of have a division that is pretty tough to kind of run through. You have guys challenge you left and right. Like Oliveira's coming for you. You have this ever looming rivalry fight do with Patty. If Patty can kind of get, past Gaethje, you have Armand that's in there. If he can ever figure out his weight, he could come in and he'll be a very, very tough challenge for you. There's a lot of different options in that division of who can give you a really, really tough test. So he's gonna have his work cut out for him. But I don't think Islam's dunking him in any way. I think he just simply ran through the most talented division in the UFC. And now he needs a bigger test. And I don't really blame that for him. I wish Belal beat Jack so we could see that fight, because I think it'd be a very interesting fight. But Jack Della Mena versus Islam is going to be a hell of a fight. So thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Pronunciation, we're getting there. But yeah, it's Wages and Warriors with Mario here. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And tune into the Bull Crew podcast. Available everywhere you get your podcasts for all Charger things. Shout out Los Angeles Chargers. Thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure to stay tuned next week when we do O'Malley versus Merab. That card's stacked. Going to have a lot of stuff for it. So thank you so much.